This is 5 on your side at 5. Focused on you.
New tonight, local companies have been unknowingly paying for weapons of mass destruction in North Korea. That announcement came just hours ago from the St. Louis division of the FBI. Good evening. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson.
And I'm Mike Bush. The scheme involves companies who hire IT workers who aren't who they say they are. Our Christine Byers is live downtown with more on how companies can protect themselves. Christine.
That's right, Mike and Kelly. This story is pretty astounding, and we're going to try to break it all down for you. The FBI division of St. Louis discovered that companies nationwide were being victimized, and it all began right here. These websites may look like legit companies that offer to supply IT workers to companies in need of technology experts. But the St. Louis division of the FBI says they're among more than a dozen online companies that have been shut down. Agents discovered the people posing as IT workers were actually funneling the wages that they made to North Korea to help pay for weapons of mass destruction. And they were operating out of China and Russia. Special Agent Jay Greenberg says the FBI has already seized about $1.5 million.
If you are hiring IT workers either for mobile application development or specific software development at point of need, and you do not have a robust background process to ensure who they are, more likely than not, you have some of these North Korean IT workers on your contractor payroll.
Now, Special Agent Greenberg says there are many ways that companies can protect themselves from these types of scams. The number one thing he recommends is to interview these people that are working for your company in person. And if you can't meet them in person, have them show themselves on their cameras from home. And during that process, ask them to hold up a valid ID. We're going to put more of those tips up soon on KSDK.com. For now, live outside of the St. Louis division of the FBI, Christine Byers, 5 on your side.
Right now, a man is in custody for the murder of his 2 roommates in South St. Louis. Edward LeBrier was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder earlier today. 2 men were found dead in the kitchen of their home on Wyoming Street near Pennsylvania Avenue. Police say the suspect approached the officers who were out on a different call today and admitted to killing the 2 men a couple of days ago. A police source says LeBrier told the officers that something came over him.
President Biden returning to the U.S. after a brief visit to Israel. The president vowed to back Israel and met with families of victims. Meanwhile, anger grows in the Middle East after hundreds of civilians were killed in a blast at a Gaza hospital. Israel and Hamas are trading blame, but a U.S. intelligence assessment found Israel is not responsible. Hours ago, Jewish Americans and allies gathered outside of congressional offices calling for a ceasefire.
Here in the St. Louis area, anti-Semitic material on social media has reached high school students. Ladue School District leaders say hateful posts from a year ago have resurfaced. Our Justina Cornell joins us in studio with more on all this. Justina?
Yeah, Mike, it was a parent from Ladue High School who reached out to me voicing concerns about a high schooler sharing this material. Now, they said several Jewish students are now afraid after seeing these images on Snapchat. Now, these are just 2 of those posts. One said Israel are the new Nazis. Another references the KKK and Hitler. A school spokesperson said they addressed the problem and have empowered teachers with material on how to approach these conversations with students. As far as education, the Holocaust Museum also works to teach kids across the St. Louis region. I spoke with the director of education who said it's easy to spread misinformation on social media, but she points out our words matter. Places like the Holocaust Museum show the weight of hateful rhetoric.
It's something that they can see as the choices of human beings and where hate can lead. If we don't stand up and speak out, we can see where that language and where those thinkings can really take us. To any parent, student, teacher, school leader, anyone in the community, you're not alone.
Before the latest war, the Ladue School District had already scheduled a Holocaust survivor to speak to students. That survivor is scheduled to meet with them next week.
And tomorrow, the St. Louis Palestine Solidarity Committee is hosting a vigil for those killed in Gaza. It will be on Delmar Boulevard in the Market in the Loop. It starts at 6 p.m. Organizers say they will mourn those killed at a hospital in Gaza City.
Coming up next, right here on NBC Nightly News, a close look at Israel's Iron Dome and how it performs under pressure. the equipment that is a critical part of Israel's air defense system. It runs around the clock and intercepts rockets coming into Israel. NBC News' Tom Yamas has details on how successful it's been.
If Israel didn't have the Iron Dome, what would happen?
Well, I can tell you for context that in the last about 10 days, Hamas has launched over 6,500 rockets.
6,500?
Over 6,500 rockets in 10 days. So the reality on the ground would be a very, very different one.
Next on Nightly News, what role the U.S. plays in the Iron Dome and the pressure on the White House to provide more help.
And we have more in the Israel-Hamas war at ksdk.com to find the stories and ways to support those impacted by the war. Text the word Israel to 314-425-5355.
Well, it might be October, but MoDOT is already prepping for winter weather. Today, snowplows were out on the roads participating in an annual winter weather drill. MoDOT says their primary focus during winter storms is to make sure Missouri roads are clear, and they want to keep drivers safe. They will hold a news conference with IDOT and the National Weather Service tomorrow. Let's head over to Weather First Chief Meteorologist Jim Castillo for a look at the forecast. Jim?
Well, so today, nowhere near any kind of winter weather, right? I mean, 76 for that high temperature today, and it's that southerly breeze, gusts to about almost 30 miles an hour. Right now, clouds on the increase, though. Here comes a cold front, limited moisture with this, so a shower possible as we go into the evening hours. And there we go, right just northwest of Pike County, Missouri. There are the showers. Again, we have very limited moisture in play here, so it's right up against that front where we'll see the shower activity. Otherwise, that humidity is 32%, 75 degrees, and of course that dew point really low. That'll increase a little bit as we go toward 10 o'clock tonight. Much more on the timing of that rain for St. Louis coming up in just a bit.
And the cooler weather may have you reaching for the thermostat. And if you have gas appliances, you may notice a funky smell. Tracy Henson got a first-hand look today at what happens when you have to call the natural gas company.
All right, Kelly, first off, it's free. If you smell that telltale rotten egg natural gas smell, call your provider immediately. This afternoon, I met up with Ameren, Illinois' journeyman, who walked me through what happens when you call the gas company for a possible leak. They'll want you to get out of your home and be at a safe distance. They'll check the meter, then walk through the home with special detection equipment.
If it is at a hazardous level, we'll call for fire department to help us with that. We'll make some precautionary measures. We'll cut the power and eliminate any ignition sources, and then we'll go ahead and figure out the source of that leak and get it fixed. That way we can get all those utilities turned back on and get you back into your house.
Now, Jake said don't be shy about calling. During the first cold snaps of the season, their call numbers will triple. Now at 6, I'll have a tip on natural gas that you've probably never heard of.